This is the Siri Astra 50mm t1.8 full frame anamorphic lens with a 1.33x squeeze. If you haven't seen the video that I made on my main channel, I would definitely say go and watch that one first. So in case I didn't mention it before, Siri did send this to me free of charge, so they're not telling me what to say or reviewing this video before I release it. So just full disclaimer. So in this video, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about this lens and discuss whether or not these full frame anamorphic autofocus lenses are worth it. So this lens goes for about 850 bucks brand new, and it is for the Nikon Z, Sony E, and Leica L mount, which is what I tested it on. This lens gives you a 1.33x squeeze, which I highlighted a lot on my main video. De-squeezing this from a 3x2 open gate shot will give you about a 2:1 aspect ratio, and then on a 16:9 shot will give you somewhere around the 2:35:1 aspect ratio. Again, both of those are pretty desirable for different reasons. So again, the way that anamorphic lenses work is they give you the vertical of the focal length. So vertically, you'll see about 50 millimeters worth, but then the horizontal gets stretched out. So I think if my math is right, this lens horizontally is a lot more like a 35 millimeter. I'm not great at the math on these. So again, this lens does not feel cheap at all. It's all metal, and it has all of the function buttons and geared aperture and focus rings. And again, something that I really like is the fact that this has a 67 millimeter filter thread on it, which means you can put diffusion filters or of course variable NDs. So aside from the Siri Aurora lenses, which are the aspherical ones, every other Siri lens that I've tested has been really clean and sharp. And these Siri Astras are no exception. So it's kind of nice that they have very common filter threads that if you wanted to, you could add some black satin or glimmer glass or maybe a black pro mist, which I think could help if you wanted to soften up the image a little bit, just because, especially on my Lumix cameras, the image can be really sharp, which is almost distracting at times. So the image coming off of this Siri Astra 50mm is great. I really don't have much to complain about. That is, except for the autofocus performance. So I found that this lens struggled with autofocus, especially when your subject is very backlit or you're in lower light situations. Now, I can't say that this lens is gonna perform the same on a Sony or Nikon camera. Sony cameras obviously have much better autofocus performance, but on the Lumix cameras that I used it on, this did struggle a little bit, and I did see some loss of focus and maybe even some pulsing in some instances. So on my Lumix S1 Mark II, which is the camera that I tested it on, I would say the autofocus probably worked about 85% of the time perfectly, but it would occasionally lose focus of my subject. But of course, you don't have to use autofocus. You can simply turn autofocus off and use it in manual mode just like you would any other anamorphic lens. So again, I think that these Astra lenses are great for any filmmaker or creator who wants that anamorphic look, but wants some of the modern features of newer lenses, one of those being autofocus. But again, I wouldn't really expect any like crazy character or like a look coming out of these lenses. Again, these are very clean and sharp. I found that the sharpness, chromatic aberration, and even the bokeh looked really nice, especially for an anamorphic lens. But again, these get the job done, especially in things like talking head. If you watch my main video, my entire talking head was filmed with this Siri Astra lens. And again, if you did want to add a little bit of diffusion, you can just put a diffusion filter right on the 67 millimeter filter thread, which again is kind of nice. And the only reason I mention that so much is because I did do a review on one of Siri's Iron Star lenses, which are a 1.5 squeeze, which I loved those lenses as well, but they had a very awkward 92 millimeter filter thread, which basically no company makes a step up ring or a variable ND for. So yeah, if you'd like to know more about this lens, again, I did an entire video on it on my main channel. You can go check that out. I think that Siri is one of the only companies that's doing autofocus anamorphic lens, which makes this one pretty unique. So thank you, Siri, for letting me test out this lens, and big thanks to you for tuning into this video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye con Deus, and I'll see you next time. Bye.